YouTube, Patreon? Welcome back to another Fate episode. Well, not really episode, another Fate video. We're going to be checking out some lore. This one is how Archer became who he is, a Giga Chat. Counter Guardian, Emmy explained, Fate Stay Night lore. Of course, you can find full Fate reactions, whether it's the movies, Zero, Unlimited Blade Works, a lot of other anime as well, only on my Patreon. Check that out. Without further ado, let's get into this. Also, shout out to Any News.
I wanted to start this episode with some spectacular opening line because, you know, it's Shiro Emiya, Fate's poster boy himself. He's in pretty much every variation and timeline of the Fate series, and even when he's not, he still kind of is.
Wait, I'm trying to see where he is. Okay, I see Emiya in the middle over there. On the left side, I don't see Emiya. And on the right, I don't see him unless that's him, but I'm pretty sure that's Bastet or some girl that does a counter move.
Of the Fate series, and even when he's not, he still kind of is.
Is that who I think it is? Is that supposed to be Archer?
I'm talking about this Shiro.
Faker! I love that scene.
How he was even able to be summoned as a servant in the 5th Holy Grail War.
True. Yeah, I'm actually very curious as to why he died, because I do know that he made some sort of deal to become a guardian, meaning that he can save everyone, but then that's not true, because in order to save everyone, you gotta, I guess, kill other people, or even like, you can't basically save everyone, right? Some people, they gotta go.
Shiro was unable to help Saber fulfill her true wish.
Can you guys remind me what was Saber's true wish?
Corrupted entities similar to Angular Mind.
What the? Oh, this is the FGO guy, right? I remember seeing him in the Noble Phantasms video.
The world, or more specifically, Alaya, appears before Shiro, offering him
I always wondered, when I saw this scene in UBW, like, what location is this? And what is that thing? I don't think they ever explained that, unless I forgot. But just in my head, I was always wondering, like, where is he? What is this location?
In exchange for his service as a counter guardian after death.
After death?
Alaya refers to the collective will of mankind to survive.
How am I supposed to know all this? Watching the anime. They didn't even talk about this.
But somewhere along the way, he was betrayed, and he became branded as the root cause of it.
Again, I always wondered, what did they mean by betray? Like, did people, I guess, lie to him? Did they lie about the people he was supposed to kill? Like, they said, oh, go get rid of these people, they're the bad people, but then turns out they weren't. Like, what kind of betrayal was it, and who was it that betrayed him?
Being the forgiving creatures that they are, turned their back on him and sentenced him to death. It is in death that Shiro's new existence as a counter guardian begins. All pumped up and ready to start saving people again, Shiro quickly realizes that it's not at all what he was expecting it to be like. Although he did end up using his godlike powers to save humanity time and time again, the method in which he did it was the—
Okay, so what I just understood, basically, let's say he was helping a country, right? He was your #1 soldier, and he was going out in the battlefield or different countries and killing these people. Then his own country turned on him, I guess, and put the blame on him, like, yo, this is the root cause. He's the one causing everything. The war is because of him. Let's just hang him, and we're all good. I guess that's the betrayal?
Complete opposite of everything he stood for. You see, when Alaya realizes that humanity is entering a rabbit hole of destruction, it will send a single agent to eliminate the threat. And when I say eliminate, I don't mean simply take out all those deemed guilty by the world. I mean kill everything and everyone that's remotely close to the area that he was sent to. It's pretty much the world just saying, fuck it, let's start over and just nuke this place. And that's exactly what Shiro did. He would save humanity from its own demise by killing again and again and again. And as I said, this wasn't just killing a guilty few. The casualty numbered in the millions.
Whoa, was that a kid? I don't remember seeing that.
That's only a wild guess, but considering that it's assumed the sinking of Atlantis was caused by Alaya, then a couple million might even be on the low side.
Oh my god, are you serious? I watched so many videos on this kind of stuff, like the conspiracy theories and whatnot of the Atlantis, the lost city. It's so freaking cool. And I didn't even know they talked about it here.
That's only a wild guess, but considering that it's assumed the sinking of Atlantis was caused by Alaya, then a couple million might even be on the low side. So Shiro spends eons as Alaya's agent, manifesting back on Earth at different points in time to repeatedly witness and enact the very opposite of what he stood for. Eventually, he just came to realize that his ideal was a lie, and that Kiritsugu was right. It's impossible to save everyone. It's easier to just maintain a balance and save the majority at the cost of a few. It just so happened that in Shiro's case, the few were scaled to a much larger number. But when compared to humanity as a whole, it was still a small price to pay. Eventually, Shiro became fed up with his existence as a counter guardian. He essentially spent all eternity faced with the fact that no matter what he did, he wouldn't ever be able to save everyone. and this became a truly painful existence for him. As such,
Oh my god, dude, he can never die? He has to keep coming back, right? And that's why he, I guess, wanted to kill Shido to end this cycle, because Shido would go on to become him, right? The Guardian. So the UBW, the entire thing was like, I'm gonna kill you so that it doesn't happen again, because I know what's gonna happen.
devised a plan to free himself from his role as Elias' agent of death. He saw an opening as a heroic spirit to be summoned as a servant during the Fifth Holy Grail War. That way, if he was able to kill his past self before ever being able to form a contract with Elia, it would create a big enough time paradox that it would erase his existence as a counter-guardian. So, as you already know, he finally got his chance and was summoned as an archer in the Fifth Holy Grail War. And that puts us right back to the beginning of where we started. From what I understand though, the timeline where Shiro becomes a counter-guardian and the timeline where Heroic Spirit Shiro is summoned are two completely different universes. They're alternate timelines representing two different potential futures for Shiro. That way, it doesn't end up becoming an infinite loop of Shiro always becoming a counter-guardian, then regretting it, and returning back to the Fifth Holy Grail War to prevent it from happening. Which makes me wonder then, who was Rin's servant in the timeline where Shiro does become the counter-guardian? Because I don't think it would be Heroic Spirit Shiro, otherwise they'd already be in an infinite loop. If you're more familiar—
Oh my god, he just said like the most important thing ever. One more time.
Who was Rin's servant in the timeline where Shiro does become the counter-guardian? Because—
Wait. He just said who was Rin's servant in that timeline where he became the counter-guardian. But then, what's to say that Rin was supposed to be in that timeline? Like, was she supposed to be there? What if it's somebody else? You know what I'm saying? Like, he could have been the servant of someone else. Or does it have to be Rin? That's something I don't understand. Like, is it the exact same thing that's happening in a different universe? Because they also said it's like two different timelines in two different universes. So what if universe A has Rin as the master, universe B doesn't have Rin? It has to be Rin because she has the catalyst? Like, that's the only specific catalyst that can summon Archer? But then, was he never ever summoned before, Rin? It's not the first time he was summoned, right? The Fifth Holy Grail War, obviously, because in one of the previous, I guess, lives or timelines, he was a counter-guardian. Oh my god, this is so weird. It's like, I'm not gonna think about it that much.
I don't think it would be Heroic Spirit Shiro, otherwise they'd already be in an infinite loop. If you're more familiar with how the timelines are split, then let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know more about Shiro's timeline from before he was summoned in the Fifth Holy Grail War. But yeah, that's the legend of Heroic Spirit and counter-guardian Shiro Emiya.
Okay.
In life, he was betrayed time and time again by those he had trusted. He only had his strong belief and ideals to go by. But the world had other plans for him, and in the end, even those ended up betraying him, resulting in his eternal desire to find a way to cease existence.
I really want like a dedicated episode or even like a season that goes over how he really became a heroic spirit. I want to see what he did. Like, all these flashbacks are showing of him killing other people, innocent people maybe, and just like people in general. I want a storyline of just that. I want to see who betrays him, how he gets betrayed, how he gets hanged, all that stuff. Like, it's so important. They definitely should do something about it.
It's really quite the tragedy when you think about it, but I guess that's what fate's known for. A few other important bits of information regarding Shiro during his time as a servant are the circumstances of his summoning and the lack of memories he has from his time as a human. He's able to be summoned because throughout eternity he had kept the jewel that Rin used to save his life, and this jewel just so happened to also be the catalyst that was used by Rin at the time of the summoning. Once summoned though, he claims that the only memory he recalls from his time alive was the summoning of Saber and the day that he was saved by Kiritsugu, although he seems to also remember Rin after seeing her face. But that's pretty much it. If you're also wondering why Shiro's complexion seems to have changed over time, like, there's actually a reason for it. Apparently,
wait, what was that?
His complexion seems to have changed over time. There's actually a reason for it.
I always talked about this.
Years and years of projection magic, along with literally using his body as materials to produce these projections, are what caused his skin to darken and his eyes and hair to whiten. It turns out that the whole "I am the bone of my sword" thing, it has some literal meaning behind it. As for his alter appearance, I have no idea. Don't ask me. So that's
what? What is that?
Alter appearance, I have no idea.
Bro, oh my god, he got like a nice haircut too. Freaking those lines. Who's his barber? This is not him. He went to Detroit. Demia. Bro, what? Which fate is this? Where do I see this version? Like, I want to see him in action.
So is he still a hero for justice? I guess that depends on what your definition of justice is. Now, this is normally where I'd segue into his abilities and noble phantasms. but I didn't quite realize how complex his Unlimited Bladeworks reality marble was. So I'll make that into its own separate video that I promise will come out much sooner than you think.
We'll do that next. This was an amazing video by Annie News. I still have questions now. Look, the whole justice thing, I get it. His intentions have always been in the right place. He wants to save as many people as he can, but that's just simply not possible. And he realizes that, but then it's kind of too late. Now, my big question is, well, first, you know, the first question was just the whole timeline thing that I was talking about earlier. You guys can let me know in the comments. The final question would be, what happens next? You know, in UBW, for example, after it ends, after he moves on and whatnot, you know, Archer's gone. We got Shido learning some more mage and living his life with, I guess, Rin or whatnot. What's gonna happen in that timeline? Like, I want to know after UBW, when he, I guess, reaches that point of making a contract. Is he gonna make a contract? Is that still gonna happen? Because I don't think he talked about it. I do remember clearly where he said that I'm not gonna regret anything. So is he saying that I'll still make the contract, I'll still do the things that, you know, are gonna happen, I'll still get betrayed, but I just won't regret it? Does that make any sense? Or is he just not gonna become a heroic spirit, which I don't think is true. He definitely will at some point, but who knows? I really want to see like a sequel to UBW. Shido never becomes Archer in any of the 3 timelines because his ideals become refined. Unlike Archer, there is nothing next. Shido doesn't become a guardian in... What? Wait, so are you telling me that Emiya, aka this guy, Archer, he succeeded in UBW? Well, not really succeed, he didn't kill him, but the cycle won't repeat is what I'm saying. So he kinda won, because Shido will never become Archer. And before UBW, that always kept happening, right? It always kept happening. And so when he was summoned in UBW, the 5th Holy Grail War, he was like, this is my chance, gotta kill that kid to make sure it doesn't happen. But he doesn't kill him. Instead, he realizes that Shido is, his ideals are more, I guess, different maybe, or not ideals, but like he's more clear on his path and he doesn't regret anything. He won't regret anything, and that kind of sets them apart. And because of that, whoa, wait a minute. Oh my god, you know what I just noticed? Maybe because of that, because of all of that, there won't be a time where he's gonna feel all depressed and everything, and that Alia thing, like this thing would never happen, right? Because this scene that they just show us over here, this is not the Emiya from UBW, like the one we've been seeing the whole time. This is Archer's previous, I guess, timeline, right? So maybe like in UBW, like this would just never happen, this whole scene. He would never be in contact with Alia. Archer still exists in another unknown timeline. He still became Archer, or maybe I'm wrong. Archer created a new timeline, not a paradox, so he doesn't disappear. Oh my god, I'm getting so many different answers. Shido doesn't become a guardian in any of the 3 routes. Okay, I think I understand, but feel free for another discussion in the comments. Of course, if you want all of the Fate anime uncut reactions and openings and endings and all the other cool stuff, check it out on my Patreon. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.